A very good afternoon to all of you. I, Sarika Rani, welcome you all on behalf of Shah and Anchor Kutch Engineering College on third day of webinar on ins and outs of project planning and development. Today we will have session on literature review, art to empower your research work. This session will be delivered by Dr. Irfan Siddhavatam sir. Let me introduce you to the speaker. He is an associate professor and head of IT department at KJSE, where he has been since 2001. His research interest includes cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. His work includes developing intelligent solutions to ensure secure cyberspace, not only for critical infrastructure, but also for children and women safeguarding. An important stakeholder, the National Commission for Protection of Child Right, have appreciated his contribution in the field of online child and women safety. He has more than 30 plus publication in international conferences and journals. Now, I would like to request Sir to start with the session, and on the same time, I would request participants if they have any questions, they can post their questions in Q&A section. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Uh, Hope I'm available, audible at this moment. Okay. So,
Yes, sir, you're audible.
sure. Thank you. Okay. Uh, my screen share is available now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, thank you very much, ma'am, for a brief introduction and with few nice words around. Thank you very much. Let me just add around a bit of work. What was, as I told, there were ma'am mentioned about national agency appreciating the work. One of the interesting work I had been doing last 6 months was a landscape analysis. Okay, for looking around online child safety. So that was very interesting project which we worked with an for an European funding agency, SIF. And there were lots of, when we say landscape analysis, we worked around lots of dimensions. And one of the important dimension was, till that moment, as a normal, researcher, my understanding about, having literature review, how important or how the directions can take our to a very important was undermining. But now with the experience what we worked around that project, it was very much we got to know lots of dimensions why it is important to have literature. So that is what made me, when Uday Bhave sir approached me, this topic was very near to me, and being worked upon this and making people aware that literature review is one of the most important aspects of your research work. Again, whenever we talk about only research work, I will throw some lights on. It's not about only research work. Now, lots of being in teaching for more than 15 years, what I understand is lots of students at UG level, at PG level, or even at PhD level, they undermine research literature review. The reason is like what it is, people say it's not more creative, it's repetitive, it's not giving more proof, is not have lots of weightage. But if I see more and more you get exposed to different kind of projects, you different type of work you do, you understand the base, the fundamental, the foundation to any work is literature review. if you are not getting thorough with literature review, there are two aspects: how to produce the literature review, what I will be talking about. Also, the other part is how do we take it, how you incorporate it as a research work is very important. We have to understand any research work, any work, I would not say only research work, any project, any task. If you have to study, you have to study the literature work. I will talk about that in detail. So that's my opening note, saying that it's not that, it's a mundane presentation which I am coming up. It's a it's a known topic. If people have taken research methodology, it's one, typically restricted one chapter which talks about how to read papers. It talks about what to, what are the methods, what are the tools. Here what I will try to present here is its importance. What has it affected in my research work, and how you can produce a literature work which gives you a confidence when you present your work, whether it's an experimental, whether you have done some, innovative algorithm. You have to first take into consideration what is the current stature. I'll talk about that. That's what I will start with my opening round, or opening slides, which talks about literature review. Then that's what I started up. Do we really need it? I'll just spare some time on giving you an perspective. Do we really know it, or we need it, that kind of a stuff? Then how should we do it? That's another part of it. And then the tools needed, we'll talk about that. But more interestingly, when I was just discussing how should we go ahead, I don't want, whenever people talk about literature review, people say it will be very monotonous. And when I discussed with the team around, lots of students, madam is there, all of them are have had lots of keen questions there. So let us, the plan for today's session is, I'll be briefing you in next half an hour. Then there was lots of interaction. We'll have lots of interaction. So I have called up lots of participation there, a team here who'd throw me, who would ask me more of the questions about how their perspective and what are their doubts. We'll have a discussion session more together, and then I'll be open for the audience questions. So all that, so it's not only a presentation, we'll be having discussion. So that's the idea. So more and more and either ways, you can write on the chat. I'm really open to share my experience. So here my presentation is not about presenting, telling about a topic, or teaching about a topic. It's not. It's about sharing my experience. How did I worked out with my projects, and how it's like a connected talk with all of you. If I take literature review, because many of my years, first 5 years of my research work, it was something like literature review was the last part, or something very undermined part which used to do. But when I realized this importance, so I take this as more of a discussion and discussing about whole of this process. So my first talk is, let's define. There are lots of definitions around, but few interesting. One is from Wisconsin University. They have written it very well. They say literature review is a critical analysis of segment of published body of knowledge through summary, classification, and comparison of prior research studies, reviews of literatures, and theoretical aspects. That's it. Like so we understand the keywords. I'll be talking about lots of keywords and everything out of it. So the keyword is, it's about summary, it's about classification and comparison. So that is what we have to do in a literature review. In the next slide, I'll tell you why do we need to do that. But when you say literature review, you keep into a mind, what are we trying to do is, we are summarizing it, classifying it, and comparing it with prior research work, research studies, review of literature, theoretical articles. So 3 keywords are summary, summarization, classification, and comparison. That's a very interesting, definition. That's why I picked up. And if I really go to the next, there was a recent blog which came up, and I've cited it up. It also talks about, so it also adds a factor: critical evaluation, summary, and explanation of complete and current state of knowledge. So, so if you see why have I taken up these two definitions, is the first definition is something which is a researcher would do, a classical literature reviewer would take. The second definition, wherein we talk about current state of knowledge, explanation, is something where we always required these kind of documentation in projects also. So that's how it is all about understanding this concept. So if I'm talking about literature review, I look at, if I am reviewing the paper, if I am reading your thesis, or anybody who's reading, he is importantly looks around your literature review. I'll tell you what am I looking at is how have you summarized it, how have you done a classification and comparison. So three keywords I'm always looking if I'm reading it, if I want to evaluate your work. Why do I read this? Somebody would say to me, sir, this is a work which is done by somebody. They might have a different set of conditions. They have done their work. Why are we referring that? Why are we reading that? Why do we need to do that? So that's what is important to understand. So do we, now if I look at this, the first question is, I will be going now, like my lots of UG students mostly, because if they are PG students, they understand that, research is a part of masters. So they never question me when I ask for a literature review. But my UG students who have done a web application, okay, somebody who has done some algorithmic implementation, so they would say ki my life, I am basically an industry guy, an IT guy, computer science guy. I will be developing softwares and I'll not be researching. I'm the person who does a field work in something like development of resources, softwares or anything. Somebody would say, sir, I am still, the people who are looking for business MBA, they understand literature review bit of it. And as I told you, academics and research, they never question me that. That's how I have prioritized it. But least are the people who thought about my UG students. They do it for my project work as the least part of it. But why I want to understand, make them understand what is the need. So let's take a typical example. Okay. So as I told you, the three keywords are summary, classification, and comparison. So if I'm looking at a project development, okay, what would be a investor? Okay, what would be a funder, or what would be a higher management look at your solution? So let's say I have been hired as a fresher, okay, at some XYZ company, and they ask me, what is your fresh idea? Okay, and you want to do that as a contribution to this project. Okay, so what you will do at that moment? If you just look around to that software and then say, okay, either X functionality is not working, I will give you this option and that is my solution. That's not what the management or the other person, if you see, it's very, what we say, in a very normal language, very layman approach there. Okay, not a scientific approach, nor a experienced approach, or nor what you say a professional's approach. What is a professional's approach? Professional's approach would be, he will first try to read about what is the functionality of that particular software. Okay, so what he doing is he's collecting. So he is actually reading the articles written by their co-developers, manuals, any functionality descriptions. Probably these softwares this software is being reviewed by lots of publication agencies. There might be some authors who might have reviewed that particular software. So what he will do, what a professional do, what is an expectation around? To read this matter, summarize it, and find out what they have criticized about. So I have covered the word Compare, I have covered the word summarization. In terms of classification, I am looking at how is the solution feasible right now. So I collect this material. So look at this, a fresher guy going around, reading not only, excuse me, sorry. So look at this approach now, which a fresher has developed. He has gone through the user manual. He has gone through the articles which have been published by some of his, for some of the reviewers, got his ideas summarized there, and then he has concluded some of the features, might be the criticizing the other computators are having these features, and probably it will add me a new value, and I am proposing that solution. Look at that. See now what happened. He might have an idea. He got a base to it. He got an a secondary or support system behind it, saying that why am I proposing this? Why is this important? Making realize your boss, why is that important? Making realize him, why is this feature from what? Some base referred article. And that is what is more important to anybody. Now, if I'm doing in a business, if I am in a business, what does that mean? In my business, again, I have to study articles about comparison, study articles about computators, and come up with a business plan, come up with a review of what is the existing market, and that is what is much needed. And ignoring this part to develop a base to a particular thought process is really not, will not work in long term. See, you can just walk around and have a single day idea. It might be a blockbuster, but if you are looking for a long term vision about your product, vision about your business, a vision about your academics and research, you should be thorough what has been taught, what has been published about that work, what is the current status of that work, what we have thought, is that been already done, what is there which we can, what are the gaps? I'm talking about this gap, that's an interesting keyword. I'll talk about that. What are the gaps which is available right now with this kind of work? Finding that to any of this domain is what is literature review, and it has to be done. So please, if you, any of my young undergraduates or anybody one who thinks literature review is a waste of time, means there is something really they have not understood about background work, or they have not understood about how to do homework about your thought process. Okay, so if a person has, so if anybody, any researcher doesn't talk about a literature review, from my perspective, he doesn't know how to do homework about his idea, background preparation of his idea. So it's one of the critical assets of your report. It's a critical asset of your report because it lays a foundation. How have you planned your experimentation? How have you planned your, and whether that experimentation, whether that work is relevant for this particular, this particular time. That is also important. Okay, so this is what is more relevant across. Now, I hope people, or I can convince you, or I would say sell with an idea, like, literature review is not just a piece of small summary sheets, but that's very important to us. Let's move to next part. How do we do it? Now, if you see, this is the normal, cycle which has been talked about. Select a topic, search the research literature, develop the argument, survey the literature again, critique the literature, write the review, and complete it. Now, number one to this is not a single cycle process. I have, I have a bit of this, a standard one, but I would say this has to be, this process has to be repeated or has to be come across many a times, because once you do one iteration of all this, you also have to, for one dimension, one aspect, one thing, you have to repeat it of for many of the dimensions and consolidate the work. Okay, so I think this is the generic approach for the whole out of it. But I would, because we have less of the time, I have to cover a lot of topics. Instead of talking more about this, I will tell you a small bit of shortcut to all my UG, as well as people can, because I'm now all focusing to my young students, as well as who are taking about thesis work, and also the higher students. But I'm trying to work out with some strategy. Okay, what is that strategy? If suppose, let us take an example, I want to do some kind of a work, is a small project work. Okay, some project work if I want to do, if somebody, my supervisor asks me to write a review. Okay, we can, then there are lots of questions which normally people ask. What should I do? I should just take the abstract, read it out, finish it up. Okay, and just arrange. No, I have seen sometimes this, some of the students or somebody, or many angles, when they say literature review, just they read out 10 odd papers, 25 odd papers, or whatever the numbers are there. Their summary sometimes is just an abstract, or some part of abstract, or some part of conclusion is being reproduced and just lined it up in 5 to 10 paragraphs. And people say, happy, I have done a research literature review. What I have done is I've read 10 papers, collected some material. I would not say it as a summary, but I would just pick few sentences here and there, and then representative that particular paper, whatever it is been aligned in 2 to 3 page work. And then when I read this, what I understand is the person is not serious about this work. Why? Because he's not trying to understand, okay, what is the current way, or current landscape of the work. Okay, so it is important. Now let me tell how to do it, rather than putting up the background more work. How to do it? So in that case, first thing is, know the first line, know what you want. This is very important. As I told you, if let's say I am doing some work with some cloud computing project, if it is a really new, okay, you have started it as just a fresh piece of work. If you are a person coming up with a new feature which you have been doing it last 5 years, 10 years, probably you have spared that 5 years already. But suppose you are picking up a new project, the first thing is, don't go into an idea, thought like, I will read the paper and I'll also gain the knowledge about the system. It's not going to happen. You have to read the fundamentals. So if I'm talking about cloud computing, I need to read about cloud computing, develop a homework about that particular domain, and then you look at your work. What is your work? So now for that particular work, let's say you want to develop, algorithm in cloud computing. You want to do an algorithm in AI. Okay, so what you have to do is, the first thing is, whatever typical type. Let's say I am working with cloud and cloud manufacturing, or AI with some solution to COVID problems or anything. So what I will first do is, first I will do collection of the material. Okay, now if I want to do collection of material, okay, how I will do that? Let's come up with this slides. When I'm talking about know what to do, this is what I was talking about. Read through the essentials and fundamentals of topic which I've talked about, and then it is important for you to write down. What you have to do is, you have to list down some questions with you. What should you list down is, how, what is existing, when it was existing, how the process are being taken in current time. So all these questions you have to relate it to the topic which you are developing, has to be listed down. Sometimes these listing are also called as research questions. You want to query from the review. You want to know what are the algorithms which are used. You want to know what is the state, where has they been reached in terms of accuracy level. If I'm looking at AI solutions or anything, if I'm doing a cloud kind of a thing, what is the efficiency? Okay, when was these kind of work being published? Because it gives me the nature, which was it a way back work which was done, which can be improved with new technologies, whether. So the timeline is also important to us, and how, what methodology is being used, all that things has to be covered there. So what does that mean? I have to generate some questions, some relevance questions. I have to generate some listings around. Okay, these are called as research questions in a generic term. For a normal people, it is, for my normal students who are taking up UG thing, it's just some query pointers which, when you read the material, you should have in a mind. It's not that we are just reading material for the sake of it. You are doing it with having some pointers to your mind. What is he doing, when he was doing that, how it has been done? So that all questions are my research questions, and you list down that. Then you do a set of relevance. Okay, whether you have asked a question of what, when, whether you have collected all that material and you try to get correlate the relevance. Again, means if you have asked how, you probably, is this question also important to them? What are the questions, what particular question, which pointer I should look around? Because many a times when you read the things, you said the question what you have posed is not relevant itself, or because it's outdated, it's not time based, it is not at the current moment it has been asked. So you have to set a relevance of your question and think my pointers are also going good. So if you see, the first step is a very important step. You develop your fundamentals, then you list down some questions, so that you, taking that question as a pointer, you read the material. Then you also, when you read up some materials there, you set the relevance according to it. Okay, that's how you want to know about. Now I'm trying to, this is a short technique which I'm trying to set up for all of the researchers there to understand how it has to be approached. So what you have to do is, normally, when 5 years, or when I did my masters, at that time, the online was there but was not relevant, and many of the journals and used to not happen like very easily with my laptop or anything, had a restrictions there. At that time, what we used to do is, we used to prepare these cards. Okay, I used to very meticulously prepare some cards. What I have to write, I used to write over is, I have to just normally mention it out. What is the author? What is the year? What is the title? And then I write the summary. So you, everybody, if you are doing a thorough literature, systematic literature or anything, these cards are very much important, because what does happen is, once you have collected 20 odd cards of it, it's very important to segregate them, cluster them, the next activity. Or you just have to stick in front of your drawing board and create a lines to that. See which paper is linking to which, and you can think that lines connected with the question. So it gives a really good mind map. Now there are lots of tools to develop the mind map. This is mind map is, I'll talk about that, but this is something, a very bird's eye view of what is, how the material you have collected about. Okay, so that's how it helps, and you have to jot this down. If nowadays lots of researchers does it, they create an Excel. Okay, that's a very good exercise. You can put lots of columns, prepare an Excel, and lots of field according to your importance. You can do it. But this is for, if I'm not looking for a bigger research, looking for a shorter 20 to 30 odd, I'll make 20 odd slips out of it and keep it aside as a collection of the material there. Okay, now what further I can do is, how would I actually collect? While collection, I said the summaries, everything, what I would do, I have to understand how I review and make a writing of that paper. So now the next three step is, I will tell you a stream of methods to write that review. You might have collected summary. Okay, now what you have to do is you just have to list it down somewhere. That's how I have done it. There's a name of author, it's here, and I have listed out a summary. Okay, there is something which is again, that's one sentence basically. It has skipped a line, but I have written identify research issue. So this paper identifies the research issue and future trends and direction, also some mathematical representation. So that is what the paper was. Then the next paper talks about some conceptual framework of ubiquitous and autonomous work systems, something about that. Then next paper, if you see, it's also talking about some synchronized projection and some there, some relevant U decision layer applications and everything. If you see, it's talking more about some description summarized with the name of the paper. And now this, the first one is in press. In some press, it has been given at this point. Now, then you have seen it is a published work of 2009. He is also talking about, he has reviewed the papers in the manufacturing system and some other part of it. Okay. Now, if you see again, there is something about server-oriented software framework. So what am I trying to do here? You know, I just, in the last, when I did the last step of iteration, I had a pointer, a summary. So I'm just writing the name, the year, and I'm writing the summary across. I'm going through all the summary as a cursor. Why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? Because I want to cluster it. If I see how I have clustered it, so these two papers are review papers. They are talking about something. So that previous was the collection step. This is clustering step. I have taken the author, its name, its summary papers, okay, the summaries, and now I am trying to fit into some cluster. So I see there are two papers which are in a cluster which has a theme of review. These paper talk about review about something. So they are review papers which have come up. So I have summarized them. Then if I look at the other thing, if I look at this cluster, it is all about, I have reviewed the paper which talks about frameworks. So I have come up with all. So all these papers were about frameworks. Now what does this mean? This means the 7 papers what I have done, or 6 papers we have done, I have a category called as review papers. So that is talking about current literature review about this work. Okay, and this particular, the next 3 papers what I have is about framework. So all of them talk about framework. Now it's very simple now. I got a summary. Okay, I have listed it down and I made a summarization. Summarization in terms of I have clustered it up. Like, you know, these 2 papers are literature review. These papers are my, framework papers. Now, what does that mean? What can I do is, now I can write a paragraph of first 2 papers about what is the current review, how people have reviewed this work. What is that? So that becomes one paragraph. The next cluster of framework, that becomes the next paragraph. So if you see, the whole work is now, so the next step is arranging. So what I have done, you know, if you see, this is what I had identified. Okay, so this is what I had identified about the paper, the first paper. Okay, this was identified by this other papers. Probably this paragraph which is taken, it has identified by other frameworks also, you know, other discussions also. But if you, this is a complete paragraph about one theme called as literature review of the concept. And how has that been aligned? So if you see in this, I normally write the name of the paper. Okay, I talk about what this paper is telling about, which year it was. Okay, and it has a flow which has been generated. So this is in the concept of cloud manufacturing. That's CM Stats for them. And one of my friend, Mr. Naravne, who has a very good sense of doing all this, has helped me in giving this article. I'll share this article. I find it very interesting and very thing. So this is not my architecture. It is Professor Naravne from our college has a very good Mac, and I find this is very very methodologically been done. So I'm taking that as a feature. So if you see, it has been arranged in a very systematic way, in a flow. In the consumer area, it is reviewed. The next paper has, in the manufacturer thing, it has reviewed. So if I read this in one glance, reading that 10 odd lines, I would come to know the range of this work is from 2011 to 2016, and these many people have published a review papers, and it talks about all these things. So this is one paragraph. Now I am rest assured, any person who's reading this gets a very clear idea, okay, how are the review in this topic is done. Now if I see the next topic was which I clubbed around was about, the frameworks. So I talk about this person has proposed this conceptual framework. Now further, there is in this they have proposed a service oriented culture. Then further this, he has proposed the particular. So now if you see this one particular paragraph is giving me an idea of all the frameworks which are available from the range 2014 to 2016. So last paragraph was talking about reviews. This paragraph is stuff. So a reader has, writing, see, if you see at a micro level, one paragraph itself is a complete understanding. It talks about what you have started, what you are talking about, and you complete that paragraph itself. So your arrangement of your review of work, the arrangement of review of your, papers you have read, your summarize is very important. If you cluster it up, you can create and create an intuition or curiosity among the reader, the researcher, or the supervisor, how is well he has understood the whole concept, what are the reviews he has read, what is the frameworks he has read, what further he might have completely understood the whole concept here. So that's how we are put in this manner. Now what is this? See, remember, you might always find you are writing a review paper. There are different types, I'll talk about that. But whenever you write your thesis or anything, there is always a conclusion. That conclusion is basically findings. But what you have to do is, every literature review have to have a concluding paragraph. What does that should consist of is few lines about what is the themes, or the brackets or clusters which you reviewed. Okay, a systematic way, one liners about that clusters. Then you also putting into mind of these clusters, you can tell, see, what are the gaps, what are the points which are not covered with all the frameworks, what proposed strategies. So this is one of the most important area in which will take ahead your research work. Anything. If you say till now, anybody, any company, anything, for anybody, any researcher, if you say nobody has done prediction of COVID with this algorithm, why? If somebody asks you why, you will say I have done a literature review and nobody is talking about prediction of COVID disease with some kind of an algorithm, and that is what you have found out. That is called as research gap. Okay, that's what you have found out at this moment. Then what we have is, you can tell how you are taking ahead. What is your understanding? What can be taken ahead when you read this whole theme about it? Okay, so that's how. So if you see this whole 4 steps, you can I have mentioned you how to write a first, how to write a review of 1 page, 2 page, or you can see the reviews can be a complete review literature paper. Okay, where more important, more conclusion is about the complete landscape there, or these steps can be important in writing, in writing about 1 or 2 paragraph of your review work in your thesis or anything. So these are some important steps you have to follow. If you follow, your life is easy. I'm not saying you have to follow, but this is my way of working, and this helps a lot. This helps a lot in putting up the things in a proper direction. Okay, so if you see, this is how you should go ahead. Now, how should we do it? Okay, so I think I will just stop here till this moment, and I just wait if people, like, my discussion members, if they have some questions, we can discuss it out, and then further I can take ahead accordingly. So I'm really open with the panel here to discuss it out.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening presentation on literature review. Now we will have some small discussion with you. I would request our students, and along with the students, I will also have some questions. So
Sure,
we'll be
definitely.
asking you few questions based on literature review.
Definitely. Open
May
to
I
it, ma'am.
request?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sakshi and Deep will join us.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I guess we should start. I'll ask the first question to you, sir.
Yeah.
My first question is, what are the aspects that need to be covered while writing a literature review?
Okay. Yes. So as I was a bit working on the aspects, if you see, this is it totally depends upon what you are looking at. If you are looking at a particular algorithm, if you are looking for a product review, if you are looking for anything, what you have to see is what is your findings. As I was talking about previously, what are your questions in your mind, what you want to answer them, in what direction you want to answer them. Okay, you have to have that pointers in your mind. Okay, pick that pointer, search for the work which tries to answer that, and once you find that you have done a lot of search and you are not able to get that answer, means you are really on a right track, because it is telling you that there is a gap which you have thought about and nobody is answering it. So these are golden questions which you searched around, and you have a pretty much confidence saying that I have read 20 odd paper, I have read 30 odd paper, I have done a Google search, I have done all search around, and this was my pointer, this was the step which I was looking for, and I am not finding an answer, and I am giving you a solution. That is what is a selling point to you. That is what is expected for any researcher, any company or anything. You say that अभी तक ये चीज किसी ने नहीं की है, and that's what I'm proposing it with doing this work, which is a report format, citing up the concepts, citing up the papers published, and citing up all the materials which says that this has not been done. So that's what is very important, and that's what you have to do first. Yeah, ma'am. Hope I have answered for you.
Yes. So my next question is, how old literature need to be reviewed before starting development of a project?
Yes. Now, the thumb rule. The thumb rule is last 3 years is the best time. Okay, 5 is also considered as a best time. But now there are two ways of understanding this very much. You know, nowadays when you are working in such a fast domain, fast publications coming up, preprints coming up. Okay, So lots of material is available for you at this moment. So my answer to that question, you might start with the best possible thing as 1 year or 2 years. Okay, 3 years was, I used to do when 5 years, 10 years back the line, where printed journal used to come. That publication, printed journal itself had its own cycle of coming into market. But if you see, we have preprints available. We are upcoming papers available. Now, if I say I want to tell you about only 3 years, means you are already working on a outdated data. So let us restrict. So if you are really working on a cutting edge technology, let's say I am working on quantum computing now. Okay, you might not find much of relevant related as per of what computation is going on in last 1.5 years or 2 years out of it. Because last 6 months down the line or 2 months or 3 months down the line, Google has come up with its own computing quantum computing architecture. Now just tell me, if I've read an article 3 years down the line, it's again very dicey situation. So now in the current situation, I would suggest. Now the thumb rule, what our normal researcher is 3 years and 5 years. But I want to say, if you are really working on a cutting edge, restrict yourself to 1.5 years and try to get the new preprints and the future publications which are different. Read them up, means you are actually working 6 months. So, if I say minus 1.5 to plus 0.5, I would say. So that would be the range, because there are lots of preprints available, pre-work which is coming up, which might be dated as 6 months down the line. So I would want you to have restricted it to 1.5 years and plus 0.5. That's my take on it. That would give you a really good insight if you're working on cutting edge technology. Sure.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Why I asked this question is because mainly we are asking students to search paper for their projects. They are searching sometimes the old papers. So now onwards, the students, those who are listening to you, they must have got the idea why they should search for the new paper or the latest papers.
Yes, but in a general practice, if you are working for it, 3 years is a good quantum to start up. But really, because sometimes I have faced that, you are evaluating a project, he might have reviewed it 1 year back the line. Okay, and that technology has moved so much, and when I'm reviewing that, you suddenly come to know कि, there is something lacking, ये तो हो चुका है. So that is what. So if my students who are working with computing and latest technology, be very sharp on reviewing the things, because it changed very dynamically. That's what I would say.
Okay, sir. My next question is there any specific strategy to do effective search in the phase of literature review?
Yes. Effective, rather than effective strategy, I have discussed about the strategy there that works out very good out of it. But what I have put one slide, which was the last thing which I wanted to conclude, but I'll talk about that. Remember, many a times people feel it very difficult to do literature search. There is lots of blockage also. Why? Because we never took our literature classes, creative classes very seriously. Because if we want to discuss, we can frame up our ideas and talk to each other very well. But if I ask students to write that idea, it is very difficult. It's very difficult to person to even summarize an idea, because we as an education system are more towards by hearting the things, more towards repeating the thing. We are not more towards creating or understanding the thing and writing it down. So it is very difficult, because that's how we have been. When you ask me to write, it's really, I require some time. Anybody who writes requires a time. Why? Because we are not as habituated to write and think ago. Means it's not, it doesn't come with us very naturally. So what a normally suggestion is, a good strategy of writing these things is, you first write, okay, review it and edit it. First iteration, you don't think ki whether the grammar is correct, my spellings are going wrong, I'm not making sense, I'm not doing connections of the words. Don't do that. First draft is rough, which either is a waste or it sets up a building draft. And you don't have to share it with something. You have to write it. बहुत गंदा लिखा हुआ होगा, बहुत ये नहीं रहेगा, लेकिन वो बहुत important है. You need to write that, read it, rephrase it. This cycle you have to go, and one or two iterations you will find it starts making sense. See, it is something like that. If you have seen painters, you know, when he starts drawing, you never make sense कि ये क्या बना रहा है. And when he starts shaping it up, you understand what was in his mind and how it has came up. First, the lines sometimes are very ugly. They are really not making sense. But as he iterates, as he rubs out some light, as he corrects some light, the whole, you know, the painting or the sketch comes up. So remember this thought process. It's very important. It helps.
Okay, now I request students to ask question.
Really looking forward, students. Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. So like my first question would be like when we are writing a literature paper, the first thing is that when you're writing it, you need to find a exact summary. So do you need to reproduce the whole summary, or can you just copy from the previous literature so that you don't miss out on any content?
Yeah. That's yeah. There were two very controversial words there. Can I copy it? Can I cut it, paste it? See, whenever you write a review, the first thought process of any content writing is you reiterate the concept. You summarize it from your own understanding. So it's very important. That's why it takes time. Mind you, why it takes time? कल शाम तक मेरे को रिव्यू लाके दे. If a guy says yes, तो मैं समझ जाता हूँ कि ये कट पेस्ट करके लाके दे. That is what now. It requires time. You have to read it. You have to mark out what is important to you. Then you have to conclude it and summarize. Though in my presentation I said कि summary 2-3 लाइन, वो 2-3 लाइन बहुत important होता है. So never think of cutting pasting it, because as I demonstrated you, somebody had written that some sentences with some connection to the previous word. तुम उधर से क्लिक उठा के इधर डाल दोगे ना, तुम्हारा the para itself will not be complete. Or you should be really like a big what we say remixer, जो कि बहुत remix आता है ना nowadays, कि who juggles it out and fits it very well. That is a very difficult task. Rather than what, read it, have 3 to 4 lines. ये करता है, ये पेपर क्या करता है, simple long thought processes. You have to ask yourself ये पेपर क्या बोलता है. So you will come to know A B C D बोलता है, बस उतना लिख लो. That is what is the summary. So don't avoid, or it is wrong to cut it paste for something. Something missed out, it's fine. It's your perspective which you have taken from that subject. That's what is interesting. Don't worry कि सब कुछ आना चाहिए. नहीं, तुमको क्या लगता है जो जरूरी है, that is important to you and which makes sense to your question has to be summarized. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, hope I have answered. Yes. And other is when you do literature review, please, all to my students, take care that you don't copy paste it. Plagiarism is very serious offense. It gives very bad impression to your faculty members who are connected with it. Okay, you as a researcher. So please reiterate. There are procedures to understand what is plagiarized, what is not plagiarized. There are plagiarism detection software. Please follow them before doing any kind of cut pasting. Please look into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any?
Do we have any other question from student side?
Hello sir, my question is that are there different types of literature surveys, and when should we start surveying when should we stop the literature review and start writing about it?
Okay, so I'll take your question. What are The first one you have asked, what are the different types of literature surveys? Okay, if you, I'll talk about them. Okay, the other one was very interesting question. You said, when should I stop my survey? Where it should be stopped? This is a very daunting task. Sometimes, it is something like, you sit on, on your Facebook page and you find that everything interesting. You scroll and scroll, पता ही नहीं चलता, हम लोग जा रहे हैं जा रहे हैं जा रहे हैं. So reading is also a very good habit and it is sometimes addictive. Okay, you might find every few 2 to 3 iterations, you change your keywords and you get new material with you. Okay, and you keep on writing, you keep on reading there, and sometimes you may get confused. I'll tell you when you get confused. You get confused if when you are writing a literature review, you have not prepared with your questionnaires. The problem is, जो दिख रहा है आप पढ़ रहे हैं, जो दिख रहा है रिलेवेंट है, उसके रिलेटेड वो कीवर्ड्स के हिसाब से है. इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग, मैं क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग के लिए कीवर्ड डालता हूँ, आई एम गेटिंग लॉट्स ऑफ मटेरियल, और एवरी मटेरियल इज टेकिंग टू यू इन अ डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन. वो किधर भी लेके जा रहा है तुम्हारे, एंड यू विल नेवर एंड इन दैट प्रोसेस. सो व्हाट इज अ वेरी मतलब व्हाट इज द गाइडिंग लाइन, और मतलब लगाम, द वन विच पुल्स यू अप, व्हाट इज दैट? दैट इज योर पॉइंटर्स इन योर माइंड कि मैं क्या ढूंढने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. What I have, what, whence and wheres, that research questions which you have developed are the stoppers, show stoppers to you. अरे ये अभी पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, मेरा रिसर्च, मेरी थॉट प्रोसेस पे जा ही नहीं रही, इस पे कर ही नहीं रहा है. That is what helps you to collect limited material. Once you have collected a limited material, then you can obviously chunk it out. So normally what happens is, when you write a good review paper, what you also do is you also tabulate a flow chart which talks about how in depth you have done. You would say that, yeah, I first collected 150 papers, then I removed, with the understanding, with some researchers and my supervisor removed 80 odd papers. Then I consolidated because it made some sense with my research questions and pointers, and then I summarized it and got a gap. So this is how it should go ahead. So that is, I can't say that you should use only 4 days, 5 days, this many papers. I will not quantify that. It's a perspective which you have to handle according to what are your plans about that particular research work. And that is why the research questions are very important on that. Yeah, and if you want me to talk about what are the different types of researches, there are fundamentally 3 segregations I have put in my slides. They are called as narrative literature or traditional way of literature. Then it is something called as systematic literature review, and there is something called as meta-analysis. So if you talk about general classical literature, that's what we do. We take, summarize what are the materials available and other part of it. If you see what is the higher version of it, is a systematic review literature, where you talk about, there is lot of rigor there, more comprehensive materials are taken. You not only take about published but unpublished materials relating to that. So it's more detailed and very methodological and systematic way we carry it out, systematic literature review. And the last one is the meta-analysis. It's an extended version of systematic review, where we talk about a statistical method. When we talk about lot of statistically presenting this, statistically analyze all the systematic literature and give an idea. So fundamentally, in a very broad concept, what we talk about, these are the 3 literature review types available. Okay. So probably if you are an UG student, normally we don't do all this real rigor. But if you are, if you are really working on a very good paper, if you are really working on a very new concept and you do it, you should try. I would suggest, if you are a 6th semester student, you should spend 3 hours in 3 months of your project in doing some kind of systematic literature. If you really do that, your one publication about, or your writing a paper about this survey itself will help you to build your project very well. That's my suggestion if you are a UG. But if you see, if you are doing your masters or if you are doing your PhDs, this is the fundamental. You spend more than 6 months. It depends upon how you are taking up. So sometimes it's range from minimum from 6 months for a PhD student to 1.5 years to concise and work on that. So this is very important phase if you are doing your PhD, and for a UG student might be reduced version, but it totally depends upon it. Okay, so hope I have answered that. Thank you.
Yes.
That was nice question, basically.
Yes, sir. Thank you for guiding us. Now there are some questions from the participants side. Now I would request Mr. Akash to please take some questions from the Q&A section. So by answering this question, we can get more details about literature review from the sir.
Sure, sure.
Over to you, Akash.
Hello. Yeah, actually, Akash is having some technical issues, so I will take over it.
Okay.
So, like the first question we have is from Akshat Mehta. On what basis should we select a research paper?
Okay. Yeah. So the best answer to that is, first, there are lots of criteria onto which you should can select it. But what are the set practices? The set practices is if you can take a paper which is peer reviewed. Okay, so the major criteria, if I'll talk about, if you ask me, if you look at a peer reviewed paper, a paper which has come up in a very good journal that talks about the content which is being reviewed by the people who understand that domain. So it is something like some peer critics have read that paper and validated its concept. So you have to be very clear, like you select the content of startingly with peer reviewed papers. So if it is like some journals which are very good peer reviewed, so most is IEEE transactions, Springer Link, all, we talk about Scopus Index. So there are, idea like, which are the good. So you have to look around whether they are Scopus Index journals. Okay. The another important part what it is about the citation. What does, if a work is been well cited, it says that it has been authorized or it has been given confidence thumbs up with that particular work much. So if you are, first criteria is look for something which is peer reviewed journals, and other criteria look out that journal's credibility in terms of SCI index, Scopus index. Then the criteria, you can weight in a parallel weightage like citation. More cited paper means it's been referred worldwide with highest rank. So these are some thumb rules which you can take ahead. Okay, I'm not saying conference papers are not to be looked around, but again, you have to verify it. So if I take a conference paper and if I see it has a very good citation, I would rank it as a journal paper also. Okay, so if I just be very on a generic term, so it is mostly you have to work with journals and peer reviewed with good SCI index, Scopus index journals. Then if it is a conference, look at the quality of conference. There again, indexes and everything are there to it, and look for the citation of the paper. This will have a, that will give you a very solid foundation about what you are reading, whether it is correct or not. Why I am supporting or asking you to do check all this, because that says that कि कितना concept valid है, कितना चलने वाला concept है और fundamental concept है, ये validity इस सब चीजों से आ जाती है. Okay, thank you. That was another very good question. We are not able to hear you.
So I would like to ask you another question. How do you manage your time during a fast-paced engineering project, and how have you improved your time management over the course of your career, sir?
Okay, So this is uh, this is a really interesting question, because why, though little bit offshoot, but it is very important. What is the person asking around this? इतना पढ़ने को टाइम है क्या? Correct? He is trying to say that कि इतना बैठ के करने को टाइम है क्या? Can't I, are there any shortcuts? Are there any ways to do that? Or other way around is it? The first important thing what I want to say is, if you are doing this, okay, if you are sparing this 1 hour, 1 month, 1.5 month, or 15 days, very dedicatedly, okay, you are half done. तुमने आधा प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट कर लिया, because you have a thorough understanding about what are you going to do. So it is something like people rush. अच्छा ये फैन ऐसा लगता है कि ना इधर से मैंने बटन इधर डाल के ये फंक्शनैलिटी कर दूंगा ना, तो ये मेरा प्रोजेक्ट कंसिडर हो जाएगा. लेकिन यू माइट, और आई मे जस्ट यूज a linear regression and it will be working around. But once if you are like हवाई किले बनाना, ऐसे सोचना कि मैंने जो सोचा वही सही है, और उस बेसिस पे अगर आपने अपना प्रोजेक्ट बना लिया और पता चला कि ये तो 100 लोगों ने बनाया है, मतलब आपके आगे के 6 महीने वेस्ट हो गए, आपके प्रोबेबली साल वेस्ट हो गया. So don't compare this as a mundane job or anything. This will save your time for future. इसमें प्रॉपरली इन्वेस्ट करोगे तो टाइम बचेगा अच्छा काम करने के लिए. नहीं तो व्हाट विल हैपन इज, वन सुपरवाइजर विल कम, ये तो हो चुका है, मतलब 6 महीने में कोडिंग किया वो वेस्ट हो गया. फिर दूसरा सुपरवाइजर विल कम एंड से दैट ये फीचर तो बहुत कॉमन फीचर है, बट इफ यू हैव डन अ रिसर्च लिटरेचर रिव्यू, तुम क्या बोलोगे? नहीं सर ये कॉमन फीचर नहीं है, मैंने 5 पेपरों में पढ़ा है, these are peer reviewed papers, cited something, all never talk about this, and look at this functionality, I have done it, so nobody will challenge it. This is saving your time rather than using most of time. So you have to find time, so don't neglect it, as a work can be done at the last, but start with this and save lot of time. So it is future investment. पहले तो लगता नहीं है अपने को कि इन्वेस्टमेंट इज दिस, so it's a future investment to your research work. Correct? Hope I have answered you. Again, we have lost your voice. We have lost your voice. Yeah?
Thank you, sir. I have a few more questions to go.
Sure.
Is literature review drafted in a table or written in paragraphs according to the author and date?
Okay. Now, that is again a good procedural question. See, tabularization is important. That's how you should start up. Okay, you can see, it totally depends upon what and how you want to present. Okay, so if you are doing a really classical research and you want to consolidate, see, all the part of it is putting a tabular version is a consolidated representation to give you a glimpse of what it has been done. So it is something like this, whenever you write a paper, your figure is 200 words, 250 words. It's counted as 250 words. Okay, so tables are also counted as 250 words. So now what you can do is you can balance it out कि तुम्हारे को कितना लिखना है और कितना तुम्हारे को शॉर्ट में कंसाइज करके you have to represent it in the tabular form. So it is a combined effect. How you want to communicate it, you want to give a glimpse saying that कि ये pointers से complete किया, इस papers में ये है, इस papers में नहीं. This is a summary table, so it's not complete idea projection, but a review written, as I showed you, written gives you a complete clustering, complete understanding. So it should be not always a tabular form or not always or completely a written form. It should be a good balance to give an abstract of the research work in tabular form and to also explain it well so that a reader gets a complete idea how the work has been done. So I may not say A or B. I will say place it well, whatever is needed according to the requirement. Some journals and everything you might require only do it for 8 pages, 9 pages or something. So you can gist it out and write the summary out. If you are a good thesis writing, so you can explain it completely and then gist it out. So that is how it's your call, but these are all the ways you can attempt across. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. So my last question being, are there any tools available to conduct literature review systematically?
Yes. Can I present it now? Can I present?
Yes, sir. You can share your screen.
Sure. So if you see broadly, this is how are the different tools. I am talking about, see, what all we should require tools for. You require tools for searching the literature. You require tool for maintaining the reference. You require tool for mind map. Okay. So what all you can do for searching the literature? These are the different. Our friendly Google Scholar. Then this is something called as F1000 Prime, PubPeer, Chase. All of these, all of this are some which gives you the literature material there. Okay, and finding out the good paper, finding out good journal work on that. Then these are the tools, as if you are doing a really exhaustive PhD work, you are doing a big literature review, maintaining the references, keeping a track, which paper said what, which paper had all that. There are other, Mendeley is there. Mendeley is widely used. It performs, there is like, good visualization, reference managers, everything. So these are some tools which helps you to get a reference management there. And then see what I would see, there are also coming up, as I told you, I write in a cards, prepare a map. So there are some tools like, iMind map, the brain, the lucid chart, XMind. These are all mind mapping. These are used for different discussion, deliberation. But I recommend you to use this because, primarily you have to create a concept of your literature review. So all these tools are generally being used and can be used for, for you to work across. And that's what somewhere I was talking about types of literature and how you review there. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for your answers.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us and guiding us. Thanks a lot.
I really want to thank you all for calling me. Thank you, Uday sir. It's always nice to come here. All of you and all team of Cheyenne Anchor. It's always very comfortable and nice to work with you all. And all the kids around. Now all enthusiastic engineers asking questions. I'm really happy with all questions which have come up, and the interest about research and understanding. So it was really nice. All the teamwork there and all the organizers. Shajia ma'am, ma'am here, Sarika ma'am, all of you, thanks a lot. Thank you, Uday sir. We'll be in touch again. Okay, thanks a lot.
Sir, please accept a small token of appreciation from Cheyenne Anchor Kutch Engineering College.
Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot.
A letter of thanks from our side. Thank you for being with us, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much to all the team there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Irfan sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Nice to see you here. How are you, sir? Things are good?
Yeah, very fine, very fine, very fine.
Nice.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Hope I have answered and hope the things have gone well out of you as per your
experience. Sure. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye then. Can I take leave? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, okay. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
Now we will have a project presentations by our students. We have first group. I'd like to introduce with their project name and team members. Their project name is Solar Powered Smart Irrigation System. Team members are Pooja Gowda, Priyanka Devadiga, Forum Damania, Siddhi Denia, Nikesh Chauhan and Shlok Shah. For this project, mentor was Sarika Bukawar ma'am. This project was selected in top 4 teams in internal hackathon for Smart India Hackathon for the year 2020, and also their project has been copyrighted. So now I would request Nikesh Chauhan from this team to please explain what your project was. Over to you, Nikesh.
Hello. Am I visible, ma'am? Hello?
Yes, yes, Nikesh,
Yes,
you are
yes.
visible and audible.
Okay.
You can start with the presentation, Nikesh.
Okay, ma'am. So hello everyone, I'm Nikesh Chauhan from Electronics Sakek, and I've completed my second year in this course. First of all, I would like to thank the Department of Computer Engineering and Electronics Engineering to give me this opportunity, and thanking our mentors who helped us through this project. Team name is Tech Palladiums, and these are our group members as ma'am addressed them. So this is a problem statement. A problem statement comes
So,
under the domain of
Nikesh,
Nikesh,
sorry
please
to
share
interrupt.
your presentation.
Is it visible now? Hello?
No, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah? Oh. Our team name is Tech Palladians, and ma'am addressed our group members. This is a problem statement. A problem statement comes under the domain of agriculture and rural development. It is proposed by the government of Uttarakhand. So our project title is Solar Powered Smart Irrigation System. Its number is MK98. So now I'd like to read my problem statement. So cost-effective solar power can be the answer for all our energy needs. Solar powered smart
Nikesh,
irrigation. Yes, sir.
sorry to interrupt you. There is a small window which you can see. Can you
Yeah, yeah.
minimize that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. So solar power smart irrigation systems are the answer to the Indian farmers who generally face the problem of frequent power cuts or non-availability of grid supply. This system consists of solar powered water pumps along with an automatic water flow control using a moisture sensor. It is the proposed solution for the present energy crisis for the Indian farmers. This system conserves electricity by reducing the usage of grid power and conserves water by reducing water loss. So the thinking and research part starts right from the first statement, that's agriculture and rural development proposed by government of Uttarakhand. So the first thing to find is the crops grown in Uttarakhand, the type of soil in Uttarakhand, and the irrigation system that's used in Uttarakhand. And then we can make our project on that. So this is the solution that we came up with. Designed to develop a smart irrigation system which works with on solar power, designed in such a way that it switches the water pump on or off on sensing the moisture content of the soil and level of water available in the well. Proper irrigation system without any presence of human. The system consists of Atmega 328P moisture sensors and water level sensors. An LCD display is also interfaced in the microcontroller to display the status of soil and water pump. The system uses GSM technology, which makes our project an IoT project. So a person can start the system from anywhere in the world where there is network available. So now I'd like to talk about the existing systems which are working in the farms right now. So in the state of Uttarakhand, canal irrigation is present. In the existing systems for irrigation, the farmer has to go to the farm manually and turn on and off the pump every day. So what happens is when the farmer isn't there and the farmer is gone somewhere, so he has to assign this work to someone else. And that person may or may not be reliable. So the system solves that problem. The pump remains on till the farmer turns the pump off, irrespective of the moisture, soil moisture content, voltage fluctuation, and water available in the water source. So what happens is if there is water logging in the field, the crops may get decay, and also the soil may lose its fertility and become saline. And when the pump runs without water, there are chances that the pump may get damaged permanently. So it is better to prevent this. So this is how a system will be better. uses energy produced by solar power, so there's no load on the farmer for the electricity bill, less human intervention, it's automatic, concerned person is always informed about the current status of the system. So whenever the pump is on or it turns off, the reason of the pump turning off is sent to the concerned person. It's one-time investment. Though solar panels are a little bit expensive, but then there's no need to take care of the electricity bill. Quality of soil does not degrade as there is no overflow, as I said, and we use an AC pump. So this is the microcontroller that we use. That's Arduino Uno. That's the Atmega 328P chip. On the bottom left, we can see the moisture sensor. On the middle, we have the float level sensor. And to the right, we have the GSM 800 module. So there's a slot in that to insert the SIM card, and the black is the antenna that's used to send and receive SMS. So now I'd like to show the working of the system through a block diagram. So the solar energy is generated from the solar panels and it is stored in a battery. Our battery is of 12 volts and 7.2 amperes. From the battery, it goes to the battery voltage indicator that indicates how much voltage is left or how much the voltage output is right now. And it goes to the power supply of Arduino. So Arduino requires a 5-volt power supply. So that has to be regulated. So the inputs to the Arduino Uno are soil moisture sensor and water level sensor. Soil moisture sensor tells about the moisture content of the soil, and the water level sensor tells about if there is sufficient water in the well or not to start the pump. GSM works as an input as well as output because to start the system we need to send an SMS, and also the status of the system is sent to the concerned person. Other output is LCD display, which displays the same message as it is sent to the person who is concerned, and one more output goes to the relay driver, which is connected to the AC water pump. So the relay driver acts as a switch. So when we started with a DC pump, but then our mentor suggested that it's good to use a AC pump because that's what used in the field. So we designed an inverter circuit and we used a transformer to step up the voltage from 12 volts to 230 volts mains. That's the power that comes in our house. So now I would like to talk about the applications of this system. As this system is solar based, it can be used in rural areas where there's shortage of electricity. Also, there are power cuts in the village which farmer may get affected by. This system can be used by farmers who don't want to visit their farms daily. Smart irrigation system can be used in many places such as large farms, nurseries, greenhouse, etc. and they are highly efficient. Also, one more place where this can be used is home automation. Also, the farmer can connect the lights of his home or all the fans to this system. So this is the demo of the battery level indicator. So now I'll play my video. So there's a device that manipulates the input voltage that goes to the battery level indicator, and we have used LEDs to show how much voltage is. So as the voltage decreases, you can see the lights go on decreasing. So this is the end product, that how it looks like after on the day of the competition. And this is without the casing. This is the thing inside the casing. On the top left, we have the battery level indicator. On the bottom left, we have the inverter circuit that converts DC voltage to sinusoidal voltage. In the middle, we have a die Arduino which we made by ourselves. We used the Atmega 328 chip, and this is the LCD. And down here, we have the GSM 800 module. We also have inserted a SIM card, you can see. And here we have the relay module. So we also connected a buzzer to the relay. So every time the pump switch on, we can hear that the pump is switched on if we are in that area. And below the system, we have the battery and the transformer that steps up the voltage for usage of AC. So how to turn the pump on? #A dot signifies that the message has started. Pump on is the statement that we send, so that's what the Arduino interprets, and then we have a asterisk which signifies that the statement is over. So here when we tried, you can see automatic irrigation system, current status is pump off due to moisture is detected. So that is the message sent to the concerned person. So that's a trial we did. And this is a project demo because I don't have the project with me right now. So whenever you start the system at first, that when you switch on the system, this message is sent to us. Welcome to IoT based smart irrigation system. System is ready to send and receive SMS. Thanks for using our system. So this is the first thing that's sent to the consumer. Then we put the message in there. That's the battery level, and you can see the LEDs turned on. That signifies that the AC pump is on. This is our reservoir, and this is our small farm. That's the moisture sensor there. And we made this thing, that's solar tracker. So it's an x-axis solar tracker. We use an x-axis solar tracker because we live near the equator, so the sun goes straight. And we made this using two LDRs and a servo motor. So what it basically does is tracks the movement of the sun, because solar panels get their maximum when the sun is perpendicular to the solar panel. So to get maximum output, this is a good thing to do. And here we can see that the automatic irrigation system current status is pump off due to voltage fluctuation is detected. So the system may get turned off due to three things: that voltage fluctuation, there's not enough water in the well, or there's enough moisture in the soil. So whatever is the scenario is sent to the concerned person there. So these are the modifications that we can do in our system. Arduino can be programmed to analyze some signals and store some data from the sensors, such as moisture, temperature, and rain. So right now we don't have any parameters that we can add parameters to it for the moisture content, for the battery level, how much more the battery will work. To store data and make sensors wireless, we can use Zigbee Pro. So Zigbee Pro mainly works on the Wi-Fi system, and you don't need wires to connect to the sensors, and they communicate through Wi-Fi. Motor turned on automatically by checking the sensors. To protect the whole system from animals and strangers' intervention, buzzers can be used. Still, we have to figure out how to use buzzers. To protect the system damage due to fire, fire alarm can be used as a security feature. So when we were making this project, there were Australia fires. So one of our faculty members suggested to take this initiative. Cost analysis for a 2-acre farm. So we have solar panels of 24 watt, 500 watt. We need 4 of that, which sums up to 2000 watts. Battery of 100 Ah, water pump of 2 horsepower, and miscellaneous that includes Arduino and wires. So the total cost sums up to 77,320. The government of Uttarakhand gives about 30 to 40% subsidy on the solar panels, so that reduces the 10,000 from this system. That sums up to 67,000. So we have copyrighted our system, means we can claim that this is our system, and this is the image of a copyright. Acknowledgement. I would like to thank and express my special thanks to our mentors who guided us in this project and helped us reach these heights, and for always and for always being positive that it will work. I would like to thank Shubhangi ma'am, Sarika ma'am, Santosh Kamble sir, Asha ma'am, and also my team members who helped us. Without them, the project wouldn't have been successful. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Now we will have the next group presentation. Our project name is IoT based parcel drop box system. Team members are Kiran Lokre, Kavish Jain, Rohan Kadam, Krishnakant Shinde. For this project, mentor was Madhura Pednekar ma'am. All the students are from B Electronics department. These students have participated and presented in final round of Avishkar Research Convention 2019-20, and this project was selected in internal hackathon for Smart India Hackathon 2020-20. Now I would request Rohan Kadam from this team to kindly give the presentation. Over to you, Rohan.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Rohan, you are audible and visible. You can start.
My name is Rohan Kadam. I'm a final year student of electronic department. I would like to thank to computer department to give me opportunity to explain my project. So our project name is IoT based parcel Dropbox system. So let's we have see what is that system. Nowadays, everyone doing online shopping, but sometimes we are not there in our home, or sometimes we are busy in our work. So whenever delivery man are come to deliver our parcel, we tell to delivery man to put our parcel to neighbor us or give some extended time. So at that time, create a delay to get our parcel. So that's why we are design IoT based parcel Dropbox system. So user can get our parcel securely and on time. These are the component we are using in our system. First is an ESP32 cam. These are the camera module. It is supports 8 GB memory card, so user can save image and video up to 8 GB. This is a Node MCU. It is a nothing but microcontroller. It is having inbuilt Wi-Fi module. And next one is an ULN 2003. It is a relay control IC. And this is a 12 volt. We are using a 12-volt relay to control the load appliances, and this is a limit switch. We are using limit switch for control the DC motor, and this is under DC motor we are control for door mechanism, and this is a load cell, or we can also call as a weight sensor, and this is an servo motor. So these are the working of our system. Our system is simply connected to the Wi-Fi module. We are using a camera for a security reason. Camera has a two view, that is outer view and inner view. So whenever delivery man are come to deliver our parcel, he called the user. Then user open the app and verify delivery man through the outer view of the camera. If it is okay, then he will open the door. Delivery man put our parcel into that drop box. Again user verify our parcel through the inner view of the camera. Then if it is okay, then he will close the door. Then if it is okay, then he will close the door. So these are the this is our basic system. So while this process, whenever somebody try to whenever somebody try to pick up or drop off our parcel, we are using a buzzer system, buzzer start alert, and you also send alert message to the user. And this is an our app. uh, so this is an our app. So advantage of our system, the advantage of the advantage of our system is user can get our parcel easily and on time. Each and every mechanism is handled by customer through app. So parcel is fully protected. So we are using a camera. So parcel is fully secured. It is also useful for industrial purpose. They can keep our product and important data securely in this Dropbox. This system we can solve for people who live in bungalow, rent, industry, and high security societies. The future scope of our system is we are also using a barcode scanner to send verification message to the user. We are also use a second door mechanism to protect our parcel. Means your parts we are using only one door mechanism. We are also using a second door mechanism, so parcel is more secured. We can also use digital lock for a manual opening of the box for only for it is only for owner. So there are so many so in India so there are so many we are add some more feature in our box. So during COVID-19, there are so many people are infected through COVID. So that's why we are add a ultraviolet rays to, so whenever door close, so ultraviolet rays on and sanitize our parcel. After sanitization, user get message your parcel is ready. So this feature we have added in our system. So this is an cost analysis of our system. Our system is available small, medium, large in size. So it can be metal and wooden. So metal cost is around small in 1,500 and wooden 1,700. And in medium size, metal cost is around 1,700 and wooden cost is around 1,800. And in large size, metal is around 1,900 and wooden is around 2,200. So these are this is an our system. This is an our system and this is an our control app. We will provide our we will provide our product for a testing purpose to initiate customer and to initiate customer and get a valuable feedback to them and get a valuable feedback, and then we will update the product. Then we will update the product as per user as per we will update the product. We will update the product. That by using this process, we can make our product become a business model. So thank you. So this is a video of our project. Thank you.